Let me ask you this question. How do you personally make the decision on deciding whether someone is a good friend or not? Like, how do you, like, think about that. Like, it's a rhetorical question. Like, how do you decide in your mind who is a good friend in your life, right? Many of us would say, well, a good friend would be someone who likes the same things that I like, right? Whether it's sports, or maybe a good friend is that they're able to hang out with me on a more frequent basis, than other people. Or maybe maybe a good friend to you is someone who agrees with the way that you think, your thought process, right? Because it's great to have people in your life that always agree with you and never rebuttal anything you say. No, that's not good, right? Right? But then some of us would say a good friend is someone that tells me when I have like a booger in my nose, right? How many of you guys ever had that friend? Like, they just tell you, they a real one. They're like, bruh. Like, they don't even say it out, like you're in a group of people and they're like, they don't even say, bro, check your nose. No, they don't say it out loud. They're just like, they look at you and like, they just touch it. And you don't get it and they're like, trying to be, right? But we would say, bro, you're a real one. Thank you, right? Or a good friend, maybe it's to you, for some of you, is someone who doesn't always agree with you, but instead they challenge you with a different perspective than maybe you had in that moment, right? Or maybe a good friend to you is someone that gives you a heads up when you're heading down the wrong path instead of waiting till you fail. That's for some of us tonight. And, I had a good friend. So for many of you that didn't know, I have my black belt in Taekwondo. I did martial arts fighting for a while, and I would travel to different states and compete. And, I would do that, and my coach, and he was also my friend, his name's Mr. Mike. I just call him Mr. Mike. Like, he's still on my phone as Mr. Mike Carlucci. And so Mr. Mike was coaching me, and I was taking on this guy. He had been traveling all over, like, competing. He's really good. And for me, like, if you're competing, you have to think, like, I'm the best, right? But sometimes when you get that mindset, you get a little arrogant. And I remember Mr. Mike was letting me know, hey, it was after the first round, he was letting me know, hey, he's baiting you right now. He's wanting you to draw this kick. And what was happening, Michael, you want to hop up here really quick? Yeah, y'all give it up for Michael. Hop up here really quick, you got it? And so what was happening is Michael faced me like you're fighting. And what I would do is I'm trying to this is me. I'm the competitor. Michael, lift your front leg up like you're about to kick me, right? So, yeah, look at that. Come on, Michael's got it in him, right? And so I was doing that. You can put it down. But what was happening is I was getting overzealous, and Mr. Mike told me, watch out for that. He's baiting you. And I'm like, bro, I got this. Y'all ever said that before? Someone say, don't date that guy. He's all right. He's good. 2 months later, he won't good, right? That type of thinking. And so I'm over here, or Michael's me, and he goes in to kick. And what this guy does is he spins around, turning back kicks me in the face. Like, I'm talking about foot to face. And there is video proof. I literally got knocked out. I've never been knocked out in my life to this point, but your boy folded and folded hard. Like, you ever seen somebody that just like their legs just went, woo? Like, that was me. That was me. I'm good, bro. Thank you. Y'all give it up for Michael. Like, I'm telling you, your boy folded. I took that back kick to the face, and there was no sunshine for me at the end of the day. Like, I just went, whoop. And I remember I got knocked out, and I like woke up. The refs like counting in my face, like, because they count when you're down. It's like 1, 2, and I wake up at the count of 5, like, what just happened? Like, why does my face hurt so bad? And I remember I was like, man, what is going on? But I was just thinking in that moment, Or not in that moment. In that moment, I was like, why does my face hurt so bad? Somebody give me a bag of ice. Man, like, I'm like, man, is my face gonna like swell up? And like literally, like, no joke, just off topic. Like my eye, like it got right above my eye, and literally like my forehead started sinking down over my eye. And it was just not the best day of my life, let's say that. But what I'm thankful for, and what I come to realize, is that Mr. Mike saw what I couldn't see. He recognized the blind spot. Yes, I was going through life, or going in the fight and, doing my thing and all my past experiences, but Mr. Mike warned me that, hey, this is about to come. Hey, be ready for this. He's baiting you. He's trying to get you to throw that front leg again. He's going to do it. And I went and did it anyway, right? But I remembered, and what I started remembering is like, and from then on, I was like, Mr. Mike, I am listening to you. Because I don't know about anybody in this room. If you've ever been kicked in the face, it ain't fun. Especially when you don't remember like 5 seconds of your life, okay? But I just was like, man, I'm going to listen to you all the way because you know things that I don't. You see something that I don't see yet, right? Is everybody following me? And it makes me think of this. A lot of us are waiting until our friends, family members, or people in our life get knocked out from either their poor decisions or their inability to see blind spots in their life before we, everybody say we, before we actually share with them the good news of Jesus. Let me say it this way. A lot of us are not like the Mr. Mikes. All right, you just go ahead. And we just watch, knowing what's about to happen. And we just watch our friends go through pain. We just watch our friends keep on making the same mistakes. We just watch people in our life, family members, friends, wherever we have been placed at in our life, we watch them not fully understanding what it means to be in relationship with Jesus. And I don't know why that is within our culture and why that is, but we have the best news on the planet to share. And if I really love my friends, if I really love my family members, if I really say love you, mean it, I want to be able to share with them the good news that they aren't aware of, or maybe they have not experienced and lived out yet. Are you following me tonight? And so, thank you. One person that said really loud. See, it's on me. Everybody say me. It's on me to share the good news. It's on you as well to share the good news. The title of my message tonight is It's on Me. It's on me. And for those of you sitting in here, it's on you. It's on you. So why is it on me? And the first point is this: if you're taking notes tonight, sharing my faith is the command Jesus gave us and the calling we're supposed to live out. Sharing my faith is the command Jesus gave us and the calling we're supposed to live out. We just read in Matthew 28, right? Jesus came to them and said, this is Jesus speaking, all authority in heaven and earth and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go. Everybody say go. Come on, everybody say go. Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. As surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. Jesus gives not a suggestion. He's talking to people that are already following him, already in relationship. And what Jesus is saying, from now on, you need to continue to share the good news of who I am to everyone you encounter. And in the text it says, to all nations, everybody. Therefore, go. So we see that Jesus in this moment is not giving just a suggestion, but he's saying, if you follow me, therefore, go. And I just want to let you guys know that Jesus is not just giving this assignment to people who have the pastor title. Let's make that clear. It is not my sole responsibility to reach everyone in your school. It's not. First off, I'm one person. I can't. Right? That's the beauty of community and doing it together. But can I tell you, it's not just an assignment for me just because I'm a pastor. Great, that's why I don't even introduce myself to as Pastor Josh. Nobody in here calls me Pastor Josh, just Josh, right? Because guess what? You got the same assignment that I got. The same assignment that Jesus gave me is the same assignment that he has given you. And we see that clearly explained in Matthew's recording of Jesus speaking. It's an assignment for all who call themselves followers of Jesus, right? So sharing my faith is a command that Jesus gave, not a suggestion. Now let's look at the second part of that point, and the calling we're supposed to live out. Do you want to know what your calling is? How many of you guys say, you would say yes, right? You want to know what your calling is in life. Here it is. It's for you to share the good news of Jesus. And some of you are wondering, well, you're thinking like, oh, I thought my calling, I'm trying to figure out who am I supposed to do life with and, you know, all this stuff, different things like that, like what career. No, your calling is for you to share the good news of Jesus. That is your calling. You know, I saw this person, or heard of this person speaking one time, and it's like, close your eyes. Like, imagine if you missed your calling, which I'm like, first off, that's the most manipulative junk. Your calling is this. It's simply to share the gospel. It's share the good news. Do you know what I would be doing if I wasn't a pastor and if I didn't work for a church? I would still be sharing the good news, right? It's an assignment that I got from God. So no matter, and some of you, this is good for just juniors and seniors. You have this probably way, and even just for some of our young adults in here, that you're thinking, what if I missed it? What if I didn't make the right move? Maybe I wasn't supposed to be here. Maybe I wasn't supposed to be there. Can I tell you, you are in the will of God when you are obeying him. And part of obeying him is understanding the command that was given, and that was for you to share the good news of who Jesus is, where you are at. Does that make sense? For some of you, that just needs to lift some anxiety that you've been feeling. Thank you. Right? It should be this weight that's lifted. Because some of us and some of you in this room are thinking, man, and this is maybe more towards the older crowd in this moment, you're thinking, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what skill I'm good at. I don't know. But can I tell you? No matter what you do, if you have made the decision to follow Jesus, then guess what? Your assignment and calling is very clear. It's for you to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey the commands that Jesus has given all of us. It's that simple. See, sharing my faith is the command that Jesus gave us and the calling we're supposed to live out. It's on me. It's on me. Let's look at another part of this. So why is it on me? The second thing is this. Let God use you where he has you. Let God use you where he has you. Paul writes to this church in Corinth, the Apostle Paul, who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. And he says this in chapter 7, verse 17. He says this, only let each person lead the life that the Lord has assigned to him and to which God has called him. Let each person lead the life that the Lord has assigned him and to which God has called him. Paul is writing to a church in Corinth. And in this passage, he's encouraging followers of Jesus to serve the Lord where you have been planted. And he's addressing, and scholars believe that he's addressing a group of people because everybody was like, all right, I'm gonna leave what I'm doing and go do my own thing. But I love what a theologian, his name is William Barclay, he states this, and I think we have it up on the screen. He says this, the function of Christianity was not to give man a new life, but to make his old life new. Let me say that again. The function of Christianity was not to give man a new life, but to make his old life new, right? Like, it wasn't from like, some of you are like, you made the decision to follow Jesus and you're like, man, I'm ready to get out of this school that is sinning like crazy, right? You're like, man, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to get out. Like, I'm tired of going in the bathrooms and everything smelling like you know what, right? Like, I'm tired of going there. Like, let me get out of this. But I love what Paul's saying here, and I love just kind of the wording that Barclay really helps expand on what Paul's saying in the text. That it wasn't not just to give you a new life, but it's to make your old life new, right? So if you're, let's say, going to Westmore in this room, Westmore High School, and you made the decision to follow Jesus, well, out of that decision to follow Jesus, you would go into your school and you're like, nothing has changed, right? There's still the same people in this parking lot that keep smoking. There's still the same people over here talking the same smack. You're still in the same space that you were in before Jesus. But what this is saying is what has changed is not necessarily environment, but it's you. Does that make sense? Are you following me? That what's changing the environment is nothing, but the thing that has changed from you making a decision to follow Jesus is you. And out of that, we find that Jesus, this is where the command is very important to understand. Now that you are a new you, but still in your same context, same family, same school, same football team, guess what? Now it's on you to go and tell people about the good news of Jesus. Can I tell you, wherever you are at right now, maybe it's the family you are a part of, the school that you attend, or the friend group that you are a part of, you have been placed there by God to be used by Him. And this took me a little bit to understand it, because in 10th grade, I shared a little bit of my testimony. That's when it started clicking. Like I was hanging out with the wrong crowd, like I was drinking, I was smoking, I was doing all these different things, had this Jesus moment where I came to the understanding of who Jesus is, stepped into an actual relationship with Him, and then from that, I found myself, I was like, man, I just want to work. And I've always like, man, I wish I would have stayed. Now, still, Jesus still used where I was at, because I started working at a martial arts school, and, that was a way, an avenue for me to fulfill that command. But I wish I would have understood that I can't rely on my context to change. I have to rely on the hope of understanding that Jesus changed me when I surrendered to Him. And that the difference will not be where I'm at currently. Like, I can't rely on other people or other environments to cater to who I am, the decision I've made. But I have to actually be the person that becomes the game changer, the difference maker in my school, in my family, and even in my friend group. And can I tell you, it's not a mistake where God has placed you. It's not. I know some of you have just crappy home lives. Like, you're wondering, when is my mom gonna get it together? When is my dad gonna get it together, right? You're like, man, why am I just seeing so much dysfunction happening, right? Some of you are like in school right now, and you're like, Josh, I hate it. I hate it. I'm ready to be done. Like, I feel like the story for every high schooler is like, I'm just ready to be out. I'm ready to go, right? And we're always like, man, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have been in this school. I shouldn't have been born into the family. But can I tell you, if God is intentional enough to know the amount of hairs that are on your head, He's intentional enough to know where you are right now. And because if you're in this room, that means God has the opportunity to move in your school and in your family by using who? You. So what you thought was the biggest mistake, that somehow in this grand scheme of this universe and how everything has come together, you thought where you're at right now in your life is a mistake, God already knew. And guess what? Maybe you do have a crappy family. Guess what? Maybe school does suck. But don't rely on them to understand about the good news that you accepted into your life. But instead, come to the acknowledgement, it's the good news that you accepted in your life now should be echoed to everywhere that you find yourself in your life. To your parents. Don't ever think you can't lead up. You can witness to your parents right where you're at right now. It doesn't mean you need to have a sit down, let me talk about your sin, mom, right? That's probably not gonna go over well. But hey, but you can say, hey, I know we haven't agreed on everything, but I want you to know I love you. I care for you. And it's only because I can love you and care for you because I've come to the understanding that Jesus has loved me. And I understand that I'm called to love you, right? In school, man, so many people are jerks. So many people are just like, some of you have experienced bullying. Some of you, like, you've just gone through it, right? You've been on the other end of people gossiping about you, talking about you. But remember, don't rely on them to be the difference maker, but instead come to the understanding, you know what? Because I understood the good news of who Jesus is, I still am gonna love you. And it's not because I wanna do it by myself or out of my own strength, but it's because Jesus told me to. And as a result of Jesus telling me to, I'm gonna share with you the good news of who Jesus is. It's not a mistake where God has placed you. Let God use you where he has you. Come on, somebody say it's on me. And last is this, and Emily, you can come up. Last is this, maturing in my faith means my faith shifts from me to we. Maturing in my faith shifts from me to we. Jesus, speaking again, he said to them, Matthew records this in Matthew 22. He says this, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And second is like this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You see it on our wall in the lobby. Our churches makes this very clear that the clear commandments that we receive from God is to love God and to what? Love who? People. And see, everybody in here lives in a world where it tells that you need just do you, focus on you, only do things that benefit you. But the gospel gives us a counterculture thought, a kingdom perspective, by saying to not solely be focused on you, but be focused on the people who are around you, especially those who might know Jesus. Some of you are like, man, I just can't wait because I'm going to become this type of athlete, do this type of stuff. Man, don't miss the bigger picture. It's not just about you, but it's about the people that you have the opportunity to share the good news of Jesus with that are around you. This shows maturity in your faith when it's not about me. But you know what mature prayers start sounding like? You ask God for help in your life, but then you start writing down people that you need to be praying for. God, for example, I'm praying for Jonah. I know Jonah has not accepted you as his Lord and Savior, but Lord, I'm praying that you would just speak with him. And Lord, I'm praying that you would use me as a vessel in my school to communicate the truth of who you are to him. Right? You want to learn how you're maturing in your faith? When it isn't about God do this, God do that, God do this. But no, God use me. I recognize the environment that I was in before I met you is still the same environment that it is when I met you. But I know who's not the same, and that is me. So God, would you use me to communicate the good news and the truth of who you are? See, what I appreciate about Mr. Mike all those years ago, my coach in that tournament, and my coach throughout many different tournaments, is that he took it upon himself to give me guidance on the best pathway of victory against the guy I was fighting. And you know what? I did take his advice. Probably should have. Wouldn't have got knocked out. Not a great moment. But you know what? I was thankful that he saw my blind spot. He saw that there was a better route to victory. And guess what? You have the better route to victory in life by knowing who Jesus is. So, if you really love the people in your life, if you really love your family, if you really love your friends, if you really love people like God has told us to love, then what is holding you back from sharing the best news ever on this planet? Can I tell you, I want as many people as possible to populate heaven. I want as many people as possible to hear the good news of the gospel, not recognize how many church buildings there are in every corner. I want them to understand who Jesus is, that the church people are talking about. Let's not wait. Can I tell you, I see our youth group as a group who obeys the commands of Jesus, that maximizes where they are, even though they may have not chosen where they are. I see our youth group as people who display maturity in their faith by reaching the people that the Lord has placed in our lives. Man, can I tell you, it's not enough, we talked about it. It wasn't enough just to talk about it, right? We talked the last series, but we want to walk this out. Why? Because we want to demonstrate that we actually love people and that we actually mean it. And we do that by pointing them to the person who died for you. Because guess what? He also died for them too.